Hi, my name is Susie and I'm a decluttering coach from Dublin. Now, I'm going to cover a topic that was requested a little while ago about how to deal with paper in your house. So I'm going to take you from the beginning to the end of how you would gather, categorize, declutter, organize, and set up a system for dealing with paper in your house. So, who's excited? Okay, I'm excited. So to start off with, I do have to give you a bit of a disclaimer. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know all of the rules out there for how to deal with your paper. If you're in a different country, you might have different rules than here in Ireland. So if you have any questions about what to do with a certain piece of paper, by all means, you can ask in the comments, but I would say do your homework and do your own research before you get rid of something. Ask a friend, ask a forum, just get the information that you need. I don't know everything. But that said, the point of this video is to take away some of the fear, is to enable you to find those answers and to get rid of the volume of paper you might have at home, so that when you need something, you can find it, you don't have surfaces covered in paper. That can be quite stressful. If you get to the bottom of why you're keeping the paper, and deciding if that is a good reason or not, it can be quite liberating. And then you can have a much smaller amount of paper in your house. And you can decide then, as stuff is coming in, as it will keep coming in, what to keep and what to get rid of. Okay, so let's talk about a system. With paper, it can be all over the house. It can be in lots of different places. And this depends on how much you have. For me, we've done a bit of decluttering already. We moved house. This is our paper. Now, we did have a lovely sort of filing system and it was made of cardboard and it fell apart. So this has been it. Some of this is categorized, some of it's outdated, some of it's just been put in on top and we need to deal with it. This is a nice filing box that I got the other day. So I am going to do some categorization here and then move it into this box. So the first step is to gather the paper from all around the house. Now this can be in the hall, in your study, in the bedroom. I don't know, it could be all over. Gather it together and then you can start to categorize it. Now, if you have a huge amount of paper, maybe you inherited paperwork from a loved one after they passed away, you don't have to do it all at once. One of the principles I really believe in is only taking out what you can deal with in that moment, in that session that you have available. So if you just need to take a chunk of it, a certain category of it, all the photos, all the bank statements, all the bills, something like that, just take a chunk. If you do have a reasonable amount that you can do, get it all out. Okay, so gather it. Next, you're going to want to categorize it. If you were to go into your filing system, you're going to want to be able to find things very, very fast. You've kept these documents because they're important. So when you need them, you really need them. Now your categories can be normal generic categories like bank stuff, stuff for the house, school, work, health related stuff. Or it can be everything I would need to take for my driving test, everything I need for parties or memories. Or the point is, if you were going looking for a document, what would make the most sense to you? Maybe you want to organize it by date. Each month has a section. You do what makes sense to you. Okay, so in terms of decluttering and looking through the papers and deciding what to keep and what not to keep, pick one of those piles that you have. So maybe you pick all the stuff from your bank and you go through it and you start making decisions. You might have to do some Googling. You might have to ask your spouse what they think and come to a final conclusion on that. And then you're going to sort things into piles. You're going to sort them into keep. Great, keep and file. You're also going to sort them into discard. And within discard, there could be simply things that can be recycled. There could be things that need to be scanned before they're discarded. And then there could be things that need to be scanned and then shredded because they're quite sensitive. So anything that has identifying information, obvious ones are like bank details, legal documents, tax information, stuff that you don't want other people to know about. And especially those forms that say, please remember this code and then, destroy me immediately. I know it doesn't feel good to do that. But those ones especially, you're going to need a system for that. In terms of scanning, a lot of printers will have a scanning feature. The other day I got to work with a wonderful scanner where you could put multiple documents in and it would just go boom, 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 boom. It was really special and fun, but we don't all have access to that. So if you need to scan things, you can bring it to the local print shop, borrow a printer from someone, but make it an event, make it happen. Don't let it be the thing that sort of tricks you. The other thing you can do is phones and apps are amazing these days for scanning, where you can scan actual documents and just do it to your phone. And that can be just as good as well. Once you have those on your computer, your laptop or somewhere, or even on your phone, you're going to want to figure out where their endpoint will be. You're going to have to create folders. You might put it in the cloud. There's loads of different systems you can use for that. You might want to transfer it to a USB stick or a hard drive, but just making sure that it's not dependent on that one device that may not be working soon or get lost or damaged, but that you have a backup system for anything digital. In terms of shredding, you can get your own shredder. They're quite small. I know for me, I wouldn't really have the space for a shredding device, something that I wouldn't use very often. You can get these little sort of small manual strip things that take 1 or 2 pages at a time, and you can twist them. So like a manual shredding device. You can also get special shredding scissors that have multiple cuts. And also there are commercial options for shredding. So I'll leave a few links in the description for this. But if you have a large volume, this could be a really good option. They can pulp it, they can shred it, and they can just make sure that it's safely disposed of. And one last note on recycling. If you have anything that's like a shiny surface or has any kind of embellishment on it, that can't really be recycled. It has to be that kind of very generic sort of paper texture. So just watch out for that. That'll have to go in the black bin. Now, when it comes to organizing, this is where you're going to need to decide on how big of a storage unit you're going to need. So it could be that you just need something this size. So this is fairly small. You could use a large filing cabinet. You can use an accordion file. You can use a ring binder. They have small and large and divide things out. Whatever you find is the most useful. For me, it's really important that I can put the document in as easily as possible. Plastic pockets and things that need to be organized or holes punched, I find become a step too far for me, and I won't organize it as fast as I might just put something in a box, put something in a file. So just consider that as well. And remember those categories we had before? If you have dividers in place, this is where you could write those category names, those month names, whatever it is you decided was your system. You can write that in and make sure it's easy to identify where your document should go. So when you have new stuff that comes in, it can easily be filed away. It doesn't become this big yucky task. Okay, so at this point, you will have a wonderful, organized, sort of, static system for all the paper that has come into your life so far. Congrats! Now, I know it's not usually as easy as that, but you're on the road to doing that, and that's awesome. But unfortunately, paper continues to come into our houses. It's not something that just you sort of deal with once and then it's done. So you need to think about, how are you going to work with this on an ongoing basis? So 1, you got to think about reducing the amount of paper coming in, and 2, you need to create a system for dealing with it. So in terms of stopping the inflow of paper, this is where you might opt to get digital bills. So from your bank, from your utilities, I know electricity, I do it all. I see it just on emails on my phone and it's sorted and it's great. And if you've received any newspapers or newsletters, opting to not have them come in physical form, there's often a digital option. Go with that, because then that's something that doesn't pile up that you have to then read and do. It's something that's just a digital footprint and it's easier to manage. Think about putting a no junk mail sign on your door. to sort of stop the inflow of flyers, of menus, and you know the stuff. That can be a way to show that you're not interested in that. And then another thing you can do to stop the paper actually coming all the way into the house is you can keep a recycle bin near the front door. So as you pick it up and see it, it can go straight into the recycle bin and it doesn't have to land on a countertop. Because as we've talked about, clutter attracts more clutter, so don't signal to other things in your house that things can land on a particular surface by putting them there. And then finally, creating a system for dealing with paper. This doesn't have to be very complicated. For us, we had this box for a while. As stuff would come into the house and we had to file it away, or we didn't, we hadn't sort of finally had its resting place, it would go in the box. So things can go in a tray. Basically picking a space where the paper will land, so it's not everywhere. Then you pick a frequency with which you want to deal with it. You could do it daily if you want to, weekly, monthly, whatever works for you. But it's important to know that you have to make a plan for this. You then go through your tray of paper and we do the same thing that we did before. Keep, ask questions, scan, shred, whatever it is you need to do with your paper, and then put it back into your file. But you need to have that space where you collect the paper and a time at which you do it. And it could be that you do it sort of ad hoc, randomly. You just have to find out what works for you, if you're a scheduled kind of person, or if you're like, you know what, every bank holiday I'll go through my paper, that you have a trigger to do that. Okay, so we've covered loads of different stuff there about how to organize your paper. I wish you all the best in doing that. If you have any questions, stick them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them. And through this, I hope you can create a house that welcomes you home. See you soon.